Thank you, Father Linane, fellow members of the Board of Trustees, this great faculty, families, friends, and graduating class. But most of all, let us not forget a special group of people without whom none of us would be here today. They served our country, they shed their blood, and in some cases, gave their lives. I want to thank you, the veterans in this community. I also would like to express my great appreciation for this honorary degree. You're reaching far into the bottom of the barrel. You could have found someone a lot better. Truly, today is a very special day. And as time goes by, I assure you that I know how important it is for you to move on. Within a few minutes, you will not remember my name nor what I said. But I would ask you to remember, not forget, and embrace two words that have been meaningful to me in life: humility and gratitude. These two words complement each other. They actually make each other stronger. And for each of you, adopting a life of humility and gratefulness will make you stronger beyond your wildest imagination. I would like to ignore everyone in this audience and speak directly to the graduating class, as it's a conversation between you and I. When I came to this country, it was a wonderful experience. Today, I stand here in front of you, and I'm not a politician, I'm not a celebrity, I am but a simple salesman who's fairly average in many ways. I am humbled by the fact that I am standing in front of a group of such future and current overachievers. As Father said, my name is Miguel B. Fernandez, but everyone, as far as I could remember, would call me Mike. In the year that I was born, the Cuban Revolution was taking place. 9 years later, I saw what no child should see: a man being executed by a firing squad. It was just not me. It was my parents and my 7-year-old sister. The reason was simple: to intimidate us, to show us that there was a new sheriff in town and they had the power of life and death over us. A short time later, every single priest at my school, a Catholic school, was arrested. I remember with my mother and father taking meals to them in the evening. Shortly thereafter, they were expelled from the country. For 2 years, I was not allowed to go to school, simply because my parents spoke against the government. I don't know a child who does not welcome and remembers Christmas in fondness. I was one of such children. But I will never forget the Christmas of 1964. It was my mom, my dad, my sister and I. My sister and I were in our PJs having Christmas dinner. A group of soldiers broke into our house and forced us to go in the back of a truck. They took us about 6 miles outside of town to a small airstrip where we boarded an airplane. We had no idea where it was going. And because of the violence that we had seen before, we had no idea if we were going to survive the experience. I still clearly remember the anguish in my parents' face. When the plane landed 3 hours later, they simply said, "Get out." We were in Mexico. We had no idea. Fear of getting caught as being there illegally, without a passport, without visa, without money, without knowing anyone, was a daily event. But there was someone there to help us. It was a group of nuns and the Catholic Church. They fed us, they protected us, and they hid us from the authorities. Within 6 months, we received a visa to enter the US, and we did. Like most other Cuban Americans, we ended up in Miami. But my father thought that we needed to learn English. So he asked that the church move us to New York, which it did. We live in an incredible country, and probably getting thrown out of my own, this was in fact one of the greatest blessings that we have received. Because of my appreciation for our country, this great United States, sometimes I am saddened by how many of us ignore the greatness that it has and focus only on criticizing things that are not perfect. We are not a perfect country, but as someone who has traveled the world and seen atrocities in many places, I assure you that we are the best country in the world. But times have changed. I am saddened by how we treat people like me today. People who only want to have a better life. People like me who I consider them to be a plus, not a minus, to our culture. We are mostly good people. But I am also hopeful that, as has happened before, this is not the first time in our history where certain groups are targeted, but this fever must break. And I'm hopeful that we go back to our core values who made us the great nation that used to be admired by every country. We have to go back to the values that are taught for the heart and through our faith. As you sit here, my fellow students, I got a free degree today. Yours has been 4 years coming, but you are my fellow students. Your mind is beginning to wander. Yesterday will not remember you. Tomorrow may not come. But today is your day. Today is your day that you own this day and should embrace it and thank God for it, for you to have it. You and I have much more in common than we have differences. We have all lived moments in which we wish had not happened to us. Yet, as you get older and you look back, you will see each of those moments, each of these challenges as opportunities to learn. At my age, I will share with you that I have learned absolutely nothing from success. Zero. Everything of value that I have learned has come through adversity and difficulty. In my business, I have been blessed in many ways, but I've also learned that there is no straight line between where I was and the direction that I wanted to go to. There was no goal where I could just go straight to it. Each path that you set to yourself should have a plan, but you should also not surprise yourself that you're going to find detours. Those detours, and each and every one of those detours, will offer you the unexpected beauty of the surprises in life that you need to embrace and not avoid. There is no straight line between where you are and the success that you aim for. The path is full of challenges, and if you do it right, you will embrace every one of them. You, the class of 2018, are better than I am in many ways. I cannot fathom to understand or even realize the potential that you have. When I think of where I came from, what I lack, and how I got to where I am today, your future is much brighter than mine if you choose to make it so. You are superior to me in every way. You have a degree. I'm a simple salesman of average intelligence. God gave me a personality to deal with that. But my IQ has always been lacking. But it is my attitude that got me here today. I look back and see myself as an underachiever, but I never thought of myself of being at a disadvantage. As long as I recognized my limitations, I could work at overcoming them. This made me work, but it did something even more special. It made me proud every time that I overcame one of those challenges. I will share with you some of my limitations in life to prove that I am, in fact, an underachiever. I went to a Jesuit high school in New York City. It is the cornerstone of who I am today, what I learned there and who I met there. At the very best, I was a C student. And I was the kind of student that would always sit in the back of the class hoping that the teacher would not notice who I was. I dropped out of college in my first year in order to serve my country because there was a war going on in Vietnam, and I felt that I had an obligation to serve my country for giving me the home that I lost. But I also lacked the discipline to return to school. Some people think that I have some business talent, but I really do not. I've been blessed by the people that I've met. I've also have not been very good in taking care of myself. I've suffered 2 heart attacks and cancer. Actually, I still have cancer. But you'd always see me with a smile in my face. The day that I was operated 7 years ago for cancer, the doctor came into the room in late afternoon and said, "You know, Mr. Fernandez, we have a physician who went through a similar surgery as you did a few hours ago, and he's extremely depressed. And we could not help but notice that you were cracking jokes in the recovery room. Do you mind going and speaking with him?" My wife took a picture of me with a bathrobe. It was not a bathrobe, but a robe that the hospital gave me. Unfortunately, my back end is showing in that picture. And I spoke with him about the blessings that we had because of the place that we were at. But I've also been blessed in many, many ways. I've been blessed by having the best wife that anyone could ever have. Her name is Constance. And tomorrow is her birthday, so happy birthday. I have 5 incredible children, all who have the education and had the discipline that I did not have. One is a lawyer, one is going for his MBA program, 2 are graduate MBAs, and the youngest one is an honor student. You have learned much, and especially you have learned much at this university. But much of what I've learned it outside of school. I've learned that life is really not that complicated. Life is quite simple. And sometimes when I explain it to my kids, I said, look, life is like driving a car. You have a large front windshield and a tiny rear view mirror. The reason you have a large front windshield is because that is your goal. That is the direction you're going to. Don't waste time looking backwards. Move forward. It has been a simple concept that has helped me get to where I am today. I have very few regrets, and I've been very blessed. Here you have, and in what country you could possibly have, a refugee that comes from somewhere else who speaks with an accent and is able to have 7 presidents from 7 different nations attending dinner at his house. 21 years ago, I made a special friend. His name was Shimon Peres. I've met him 21 times, always in the month of May in Tel Aviv. The year before he passed, which is about 2 years ago, I was visiting with him like I did every May. And I asked him, I said, Shimon, do you have any regrets? You have a 91-year-old man who put his head back as I asked the question, his fragile body barely holding him up, and he grabbed the front of the chair that he was at and pulled himself forward. And he said, I have one regret. I should have dreamt bigger. I should have dreamt bigger. Here you have a man who is a founder of a nation, the creator of its army, the leader of its army, prime minister twice, president of his nation, a world statesman, and he thought that his limitations were in his mind. To you, think big, shoot high, and if you do and fail, be happy with it. I have yet to accomplish one single goal that I've set to myself. You and I have something unique, something that we share, and that is a Jesuit education. Equally as important are the people that I've met during that process in getting that Jesuit education. Because there are people of similar values that you have. People have similar goals. Your success will be determined by the people that are around you, more so by the degrees that you have. Schools like Loyola University have improved the depth of those values, and you should never forget them. I owe much of who I am today and what I've done to a man who I've met at my Jesuit high school. His name was Vincent. Vincent Dominuco was the principal. And today, the only person whose picture is behind my credenza, or my credenza behind my desk, who is not a family member, is Father Vince. You see, when I got to that school, I had recently come to this country. My English was poor. And more than once, there was a teacher who suggested that I change schools because this school, Mr. Fernandez, is too difficult for you. Father Vince saw something else in me. He actually put a chair in his office and made me go there every single day for an hour. I thought I was going to be punished. And what I learned was I was gifted. Because he knew more about me than I knew about myself or anybody else. He knew that I wasn't very good in school, but he saw something in me that others did not see. He never spoke to me about math, science, Latin, French. He always spoke to me about values. Those values were empathy, honesty, loyalty, integrity, and many others like that. Some people will recognize your degrees someday, but everyone will recognize your values. You will be judged by those values when your day comes. There is a word that we all learn in Jesuit education, magis. Magis is the motto of the Society of Jesus. It means greater or more. It refers to the philosophy that we should do more for Christ and for each other. Our goal in these walls is to improve our intellect, but to improve our intellect for the benefit of others. And that is what will define you. That is what's going to make you feel good about yourself in life. While I was in the Army, yes, I used to be a veteran, or I am a veteran, I was a paratrooper. I was a paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne. I had 48 jumps. And somewhere between my first jump and my last jump, by the way, let me add that I became a paratrooper not because I was brave. I became a paratrooper because I was afraid of heights. And I wanted to overcome the fear. I never overcame the fear, but I learned to manage my fear. Somewhere between my first jump and my 48th jump, I realized that the mind is very much like a parachute. It has to be open for it to work. Life is an uphill battle, and you're facing it today. But there is no defeat ever unless you quit. Never quit. Go down fighting. I could go on with this conversation, which I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I thought I was going to be very nervous about it, but it's coming fairly natural, and I'm having a good time. But I will tell you that I understand that you want out of here. So instead of chatting with you for another 30 minutes, I'm going to ask you to watch a short video for 4.5 minutes. It's a video that I discovered years ago, and I still watch it every single week today. It grounds me. It makes me who I am today. So if I may ask, could we show that short video, please?
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now, and the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. we just think of the weather. And even of the weather, we don't think of all the many nuances of weather. We just think of good weather and bad weather. This day, right now, is unique weather. Maybe a kind that will never exactly in that form come again. The formation of clouds in the sky will never be the same that is right now. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. A story that you could never fully fathom. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. We all go back so far. And in this present moment, on this day, all the people you meet, all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there is electric light. You turn a faucet and there is warm water and cold water and drinkable water. It's a gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. So these are just a few of an enormous number of gifts to which we can open your heart. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you, that everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you. Just by your eyes, by your smile, by your touch, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
I am on my way out, but I ask you to remember what I asked. Remember two words: humility, gratitude. Congratulations to the great class of 2018. Thank you.